Please welcome Maggie Falardeau. She's our Strategic Solutions Engineer here at Cirface. Maggie will be walking us through an AI-powered ticketing workflow in Asana, showing how AI can validate requests, route them to the right place, and then streamline resolution so nothing falls through the cracks. And so if you've ever struggled with piecemeal requests, lack of visibility, my hand is up, or too much time spent training, this session is definitely for you. Maggie's going to show us how to use AI to reduce that admin burden. I'll hand it over to you then, Maggie.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Marquis. I'm Maggie Falardeau, a solution engineer at Cirface, and I help our client to implement, optimize, and get the most value of Asana. I work closely with teams to understand their workflow, recommend tailored solution, and ensure a smooth adoption of the platform. So today we will talk about how we can automate creative and marketing intake together. By the end, we'll have a clear view of how Asana's automation and AI features can streamline and optimize your marketing and creative workflow, making them faster, smarter, and even more scalable. And let's get started. First of all, why we automate work in Asana. First thing, to reduce manual work and errors. So no more lost requests or misroute tasks. We want an automation that instantly assigns tasks to the right place. Think of it like a GPS for your tickets. It's always going to point the work in the right direction. The second reason why we want to automate the work in Asana is to increase the speed and the responsiveness. So the requests land with the right person, the right team right away. The work, it can be design, post, copy, etc., start faster, and we achieve the deadline and we stay on track. So less waiting and more doing. And the last part is to ensure the consistency and the visibility. So we want to standardize workflow to make sure that they are reliable processes every time. And it's easy to track process and report on workflow. So no more when's my request, email, or everyone can see the status in real time. So automation in Asana keeps work accurate, fast, and visible, and we want to reduce the stress to freeing time and make sure that we can stay creative and we can talk about and we can work on strategic tasks. So let's go into a standard creative and marketing ticketing process. Here you can see that the marketing team handle many type of requests every day. It can come from social posts or even videos to presentation or copywriting. So without a clear process, requests sometimes get lost or delayed or assigned to the wrong person. As you can see here on the slide, even though this workflow is manual, it is still optimized. The tasks are tracked in one place, the roles are clear, and the approval are structured. In some organizations, the process can be even more complicated. Using multiple platforms, we can think about emails or even just talking in the corridor. We can think about like calls or text messages, endless spreadsheet, making it slower and even more error prone. So in this process, what's going on? So the first thing that happened is that the request is submitted via a form with type, goal, description, deadline, assets, etc. Then the request is under analysis. So the task is assigned to the appropriate team member depending on the request type by a certain person. It can be, for example, the manager of the team lead, etc. Then the team assigned review the submission and the attachment. So we read through the submission, we read through the attachment, and we understand the request. Then we can create the task title. So for example, if the task title is not really clear, we can adjust the task title. After that, we review the request. So the teams will verify if the request has enough info. And if the request has enough information, we can move to final approval. And if not, if it's incomplete, we can request some additional details or ask the submitter to give us some additional details, or even just cancel the request or refuse the request. So the final stage is to review and validate the request and approve or reject the request. So even if it's manual, this process keeps the request organized and efficient, but there is still a lot of room for automation to save time, reduce error, and of course, streamline the communication. So there's a lot of different opportunities when we talk about automation and AI. Our manual process work, but it's still time consuming and prone to error. So there's a couple of things that we can do. First of all, with AI Studio and also only the rules and automation in Asana, rules can help us to auto-assign, move, or update tasks based on conditions. We can also use AI Studio to summarize attachment, generate titles, check completeness, and we can also integrate some apps. So for example, we can connect other platforms like Google Drive, like Slack, like email, to streamline the workflow. And finally, we can also use the advanced workflow like an end-to-end automation for the approval, the project creation, so changing a task to a project, and notification, for example, when the due date is approaching or when the due date is passed. So automation makes the workflow faster and, of course, more accurate and consistent. So if we look at this workflow, I have a question for all of you. If you had to estimate what percentage of this process do you think you could automate in Asana? It's around 75 to 100%, depending on how much you want to integrate the human in the quality control or the process. Because yes, everything can be automated, but what we want is to maintain a certain amount of human approval. So in here, over in the process that I'm going to show you, 80% of those tasks we identified as possible to automate with AI in Asana. This means less manual work, fewer errors, and faster, more consistent outcome. So by leveraging those rules, AI Studio integrate in advanced workflow, we can turn a largely manual process into a mostly automate efficient workflow. Like I said, to free our team to focus on creativity and high-value tasks. So let's look at the difference between the manual process and the automated process. So in here, we have our manual creative and marketing ticketing process. And right now, we can see how automation changed our process. So as you can see, there is more than 80% of the tasks that we've seen that are now automated. So if we look at the first stage, the new request, the request submitted via form with field like graphic design, social media, goals, description, is now submitted via a form, but assign the request directly to a specific person depending on the request type. Also, the AI will generate a task title from the description of the task. So nobody has to read the description anymore to generate the task title. The AI can also summarize any attachment in the file. If we move into the review stage, the AI can check if the request has enough information. So the AI can look at the title, the goal, the description, all the things that we add in the form and in the request will be checked by the AI, and we can give the AI some condition to make sure that the criteria are checked or are completed. And we're going to look into that together when I'm going to open my Asana. So if it's complete, it's going to move to approve by AI directly. And if it's incomplete, the AI will prompt the submitter to provide the missing information. So the requests remain in the waiting for info until all the requirement details are submitted. And only when all the information is in, then the request will go into the approval stage. At the end, of course, we want to maintain a little bit of human. So in the approval and project creation, we want to make sure that the human will review the AI approved request. And if it's approved, then it will just, the human or the person in charge will just change a custom field to say, okay, it's approved by me if I'm the lead on this request, and it will automatically create a project from a task using a preset template. And if it's rejected, it can create a brief, or it can create a email just to send it to the requester saying, sorry, your request is rejected. And also looking at the information, it can provide an example or a standard email to send. So I hope you're as much excited as I am, because we're going to see it in real time. As you can see here in my screen, I have different sections. So the first section I have, like we already discussed, is the new request. After this new request, I have under analysis, to review, approved by AI, rejected, waiting for info, sorted, and assigned. So if we open one of the requests, well, I'm going to open this one just to make sure. I'm going to take the same information and show you in real time. I'm going to submit my request. So my name is Lion Parker. I'm a content marketing manager. What is the type of request I want? So I want a graphic design. Let's go and take the rest of the information. So this is my description. So what is the purpose or the goal of this request? It's to create 3 graphics to accompany the next blog post in our sustainable series. Let's continue. So what are the key details and requirements? In here, I created my whole form customized by what I wanted to receive. So I asked some kind of question like details and requirement, and I also add some guidance just to make sure that it's pretty clear for the submitter what the submitter needs to submit. So those are the information I want to provide. There you go. So I have my key messages, my brand guideline, my preferred format, the style, the tone, everything. And then I have to choose my deadline. So right now I just add a due date, but I could say I want a start date and a due date, depending on what you want to have as information. And then have design asset content already been created. Yes, no, in progress. So if yes, for example, I can select a file. So I will select this file, I will upload this file, and it also asks me if the request requires legal, brand, or compliance review, and where the content will be used. So I can say, for example, social media here, and there's nothing else to say. So let's go back to our triage board. So as you can see right now, the request was in new request, but really fast, it went from new request to under analysis. So what's going on right now? You cannot see it, but underneath what is going on is that the AI is going to look into the description of the request and change the name. So as you probably see, or maybe not, because it was pretty fast, the request changed the name. So now the name of the request is Blog Graphics in Sustainability Series. Something else happened. I have a new comment. Let's open that. Let's go. So I open my task, and if I scroll down, I'm going to see what happened. Oh, I have a summarized attachment. So I asked my AI to summarize the attachment that I submitted. I have this information that I ask to my AI to actually write in the exact same format. So I want to see what is the document name, what is the purpose, the stakeholders, the timeline, the notes, and all the requirement information from the attachment. So this is what AI provided me. The other thing that the AI did is also to assign the right person. So if you look at the other requests that I submitted in the past, the main reason is because the request type is different. So for all the graphic design, it's going to be Alan, the assignee. And for all the video production, it's going to be Diana. So when my request move from the new request to under analysis, this is what's going to happen. It's going to look at the attachment that I provided and then submit a comment in this. I could say continue, but I'm going to do it manually just to show you what happened. So when it moved from under analysis to review, something else happened. I'm going to show you in another one just so you're going to be able to see what happened. So the first thing was summarize attachment. The second thing was check for missing information. So I asked my AI to look into the description, into the attachment, and to everything that is part of my task and see if all the information are accurate and complete. So I also asked my AI to check for missing information according to those specific guidance that I provide. So I said, for example, I want certain criteria to be checked. So that's why it can move to approved by AI. If I want to look into those guidance, there you go. So I'm going here in the show reasoning. And if I move a little bit, the thought is here. Looking at this task, I need to evaluate whether it has enough information to be scheduled according to the guidance. So I want to have a title, at least one objective, and a description of request change. So the task contains comprehensive information, including clear purpose of the goal, specific deliverable, brand guideline and style requirement, key messaging, file format specification, deadline, and use context. So this is the main reason why the AI change actually the task section into approved by AI. If the task is not approved by AI, the task will go into the rejected section. So in here, you can see that the task, well, there's two things. First thing, if it's not approved, it's going to go into waiting for info. And if it's waiting for info, I'm just going to show you what happened here. So if it's waiting for info, you're going to see that the AI will provide some information and some question to make sure that the submitter will add the information requested, and then the task will move from waiting for info to approved by AI. So in here, we can see that this is what happened. There was not enough information in this request. So the AI asked for more information. It asked 3 specific questions, and once Alan submitted the answer, then the task got moved from waiting to info to approve. There you go. It's normal right now. If you're wondering why the task is not moving, it can take times depending on, for example, my Wi-Fi, but also how long did the AI take. Usually, it can take a maximum of 45 seconds. Then, when my task is approved, like I said, I can do 2 things. If my AI approve my task, I can reject or approve the submission. So this is the human part in the process. If I approve the submission, then my task will move from the approved by AI to sort and assign. If I reject, even if it's approved by AI, my task will move from the approved section to the reject section. If I reject it, then the AI will provide a subtask to review AI draft responses and assign the subtask to a particular person. In this case, it's the assignee. And I also add a relative due date. So I can look at the draft that the AI provided. And this is a message that I can use to send to the submitter. This is a way to doing it. But of course, if you want to automate this process, you can directly send the message using an integration. For example, if you use Gmail or Outlook, you can send it directly to the submitter. But in this case, I wanted to look at the draft before sending it. And then, as you can see, the other one that I accepted, so approved it, got convert. So this is another rule saying, when a task is moved to sort and assign, convert my task using a project template. So not only that my task got converted into a project template, but it also choose or selected the template that I wanted and also added to the portfolio where my project should live now. It also add task collaborators if needed as project members. So if I click in this task and I go in this project, I will see now that in my creative and marketing team portfolio, I have all those projects that have been created from my triage board. There you go. So the key creation step, I would say, if you are ready to automate some kind of process or a creative and marketing process, would be to follow those ones. So make sure that you map your current process and your target. After mapping your current process and target, analyze the existing workflow, define the desired workflow and objective, and then optionally map the process visually using a tool like Miro. It's something that is really useful. And after having this in mind, identify the automation. So review all the tasks in your workflow, determine which step can be automated to save time and reduce errors, and then you'll be ready to define the logic. So decide how each task will be automated, identify the required information and data for decision, approval, and routing, and don't do this by your own. Like you can see here, some tasks have to be done by an Asana builder, but some others should be a collaborative work. The fourth step is to set the project and form. So there's a lot to do before setting the project. When you're ready to set the project and form, create your section and stages in Asana project, and then generate the initial intake form with all the relevant custom field. And finally, build your rule and flow. So build your automation rule, the yes, no logic and task assignment, etc., and integrate with third-party application if needed. Test and refine. Make sure you run the workflow end-to-end with Asana users, identify and fix any gap or issue, and then adjust the rule, the form, and the integration if necessary. So Marquis, I will give you back the micro, and I hope everybody learned a little bit more about the creative and marketing process. I know it was short, but of course, if you have some more questions, don't hesitate. We're here for that.
No, that's great, Maggie. Amazing. All right, Maggie. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Maggie.